Fatal argument. Son kills dad after being urged to get a job on the night of December 7, 2023. At a quiet house in Bartow, Florida, an ordinary family argument turned into a bloody tragedy when Joseph Voigt, 24, shot and killed his father and severely wounded his mother simply because his family advised him to find a job instead of spending all day gaming. The night of December 7, 2023 initially unfolded like any other night at the house in Bartow, Florida. Joseph Voigt, as usual, spent time gaming in his room. However, family tensions had been building for a long time and were reaching a breaking point. His father, Marvin Voigt, once again brought up the need for Joseph to find a job and stop spending all his time gaming. The argument escalated quickly. According to Joseph's later testimony, his father had been pursuing him about having to make something of himself and find a job. For a 24-year-old with a history of violence and difficulty controlling emotions, these criticisms became the final straw that broke the camel's back. In a moment of complete loss of control, Joseph drew a gun. Gunshots rang out in the quiet night, shattering the peace of the neighborhood. Marvin Voigt, the father who had tried to encourage his son to become a responsible adult, fell next to the family car with a fatal head wound. Joseph's mother, upon hearing the gunshots, ran out to see what was happening. Instead of stopping after committing the horrific crime against his father, Joseph continued shooting, firing at his mother. The unfortunate woman fell severely wounded, but fortunately still alive. After realizing the devastating extent of his actions, Joseph didn't choose to call for help or try to assist his parents. Instead, he took the keys to the car that his parents had given him, a testament to the love and support they had provided their son, and drove away from the tragic scene. At 11:20 p.m., severely wounded and in extreme pain, the mother managed to crawl into the house and make an emergency call. Her trembling voice, filled with desperation, echoed through the night. "My son shot me. He also shot my husband. He fled." This was the 911 call that would begin a murder investigation and a story that would shock public opinion. When the first police and emergency responders arrived at the scene, they witnessed a horrific sight. Marvin Voigt lay motionless next to the car. Blood congealed around the bullet wound in his head. He had died on the spot. Inside the house, they found the mother in critical condition, having lost much blood, but still conscious enough to confirm the attacker's identity, her own son. The scene showed the attack happened very quickly and unexpectedly. There were no signs of struggle or resistance, proving that Marvin Voigt had been shot before he could react. The cruelty of this act was demonstrated by Joseph not only killing his father, but also shooting his mother, the woman who had given birth to and raised him. Joseph Voigt had completely disappeared from the scene, driving the Honda that his parents had given him toward Orlando. The manhunt for a family killer began immediately with police units from multiple counties coordinating the search. That fateful night had turned an ordinary family into victims of an irreversible tragedy and transformed a son into the murderer of his own parents. After 2.5 tense hours around 2 a.m., police found Joseph in Orlando more than an hour's drive from the scene. Body camera footage captured the tense arrest with continuous commands. "Put your hands up. Turn away from me." Step to the right, Joseph complied with all instructions, passively showing no signs of resistance. When brought to the Orlando police station, Joseph sat silently in orange prison uniform, his face paralyzed and expressionless. He was later transferred to Polk County to face charges including first-degree murder. According to Joseph's statement to police, the cause leading to this tragedy stemmed from his father, Marvin Voigt, constantly nagging about him spending too much time gaming instead of looking for work. Joseph said his father kept pursuing him about having to make something of himself and find a job. This wasn't the first time Joseph had exhibited violent behavior. Court records show that in the same month of December, he had been arrested for attacking 2 neighbors with pepper spray. Not long before, Joseph had also been charged with firing shots at a building. In a previous incident, when police came to the house, Joseph had locked himself in his bedroom and refused to come out, forcing his parents to call police for intervention. Daniel Bober, a forensic psychiatry expert, analyzed this case as a typical example of failure to launch syndrome. He explained that people like Joseph often suffer from mental health issues, such as depression, anxiety, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, leading to difficulties in emotional control and self-restraint. "We have a 24-year-old individual living with his parents and playing games," Dr. Bober commented. "Clearly he has difficulties with emotional regulation, impulse control, and frustration tolerance. He also noted that the human brain doesn't fully develop until the 20s, particularly the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for impulse control and decision-making. Regarding the connection between violent games and aggressive behavior, Dr. Bober said there is some correlation, especially with first-person shooter games, but emphasized that the majority of gamers don't become violent. Gaming can be a factor, but it's not the answer. There's no direct causal relationship. This case became a nationally watched story because it reflects broader concerns about today's younger generation. Many people saw in Joseph's story an image of the culture war between generations, where Gen Z is viewed as lazy, irresponsible, and overly dependent on technology. However, experts warn against generalization. Dr. Bober noted that Gen Z is the first generation to grow up in a world with readily available social media and smartphones, creating different challenges. You can't say one generation is lazy while another isn't. There are lazy baby boomers, and there are very motivated and hard-working Gen Z individuals. In April 2024, Joseph Voigt accepted a plea deal, reducing the charge from first-degree murder to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison, meaning he would be released around age 64-65. This decision was considered reasonable by many, allowing Joseph the opportunity to receive treatment for mental health issues during his sentence. Dr. Bober hopes that Joseph can receive the necessary help and have the chance to rebuild his life after release. The Joseph Voigt case raises important questions about how to raise children in the current era. Dr. Bober advises parents to teach children coping skills, problem-solving abilities, and most importantly, to hold children accountable for their actions. One of the problems I see with parents today is not holding children accountable, he explained. They coddle them, hover over them. Don't let them stand on their own 2 feet. This creates a pattern that makes it difficult for children to transition to adulthood. He also emphasized the importance of listening to children without judgment and without shaming them. When you're a parent and your child is driving you crazy, you've reached your limit of tolerance and don't want to deal with them anymore. That's exactly when they need you most. The Joseph Voigt case is not just the story of a young killer, but also a mirror reflecting the complex challenges that modern society faces. It reminds us of the importance of mental health, responsible child rearing, and the need to better understand the factors leading to family violence. While technology and gaming may play some role, the root causes of this tragedy lie deeper. In the failure of family support systems, shortcomings in identifying and treating mental health issues, and the lack of understanding about how to help young people struggling with the transition to adulthood. Joseph Voigt's story will forever serve as a warning about the catastrophic consequences that can occur when we fail to recognize and address early warning signs of behavioral and psychological problems in young people.